DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
All right, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome into another week's edition of the Fresh Takes Podcast. Here, Paul Russo, Nick Felice here with you. We got NBA playoffs to discuss. I don't know what else fully. We're kind of flying a little bit rogue into the night on this one. But, Nick, I think it's only fair after I do a couple ad reads that the floor is going to be yours. So,
well, thanks for wearing that Phillies hat with Phillies Pirates this weekend.
Yeah, wait, that's the rivalry game they're doing for. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, you East Sider.
East Sider, but never mind. A couple of sponsors to thank: Perfect Pear Eatery, quality carry-out cuisine in Seneca Falls. Everything made fresh in-house with smoked meats, classics, desserts, sweet treats, sure to please the entire family for lunch or dinner. Business lunch drop-off Monday and Tuesday. Reach out at perfectpeareatery.com or call them 315-712-4004. Look for the yellow door at 64 West Baird Street. And Seneca Falls Acupuncture, offering personalized treatment for pain relief, women's health, digestive systems, cosmetic acupuncture, and more, helping you look and feel your best naturally. Book your appointment online at senecafallsacupuncture.com to experience award-winning care right here in the Finger Lakes. So, Nick, do you know why I'm going to give you the privilege of the floor right off the bat?
Yeah.
You do?
Because of the Knicks.
No. For the past several weeks here on Fresh Takes, Nick Felice, you, Nick, have come in here proclaiming
Yeah.
that the Pittsburgh Pirates would fire both manager and general manager. Well, you're halfway correct. Derek Shelton got the boot. Ben Cherington's still employed, but you're halfway correct. So at least at the moment, the floor is still yours. How do you feel about finally getting your proclamation correct?
Well, I see other teams have taken this route as well with the Rockies, which is just as bad because at least Bud Black got the Rockies in the playoffs. This GM that's been there since 2021 has not.
Did you say they fired Mike Redmond too, the bench coach?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Clint Hurdle took that job, right?
Yeah.
And the third base coach is the interim manager.
Mm-hmm.
Which they made him interim manager. I think people forget about this whole thing what happened with the Pirates last week. Don Kelly is the manager. He didn't get the interim tag. He is the manager for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I like Don Kelly, but it was interesting that he just got the job. And we still got that stupid general manager there, Ben Cherington, as you said. So it's like I'm excited that they did something, but got to finish the job, man. And that's where our owner's clueless, doesn't know what's going on. That GM we have, he's a great BSer, and he's kept his job for this long for some reason. But last night's loss was historic. Ben Cherington now has a worse winning percentage than Derek Shelton, so that will keep going forward.
Holla.
Yeah, and he was terrible with Boston. He won the World Series. I think it was his first year with Boston, Cherington, but that wasn't even his guys. He didn't draft Betts and Bogarts and Benintendi, whoever's on that team. But so I would like them to finish the job to get excited about what is happening right now. But skiing's going on the USA team yesterday was kind of cool.
This isn't a Paul Skeens thing. This is a Nick Felice victory lap thing.
I'm halfway through with the lap. Finish the job, and then I'll finish running.
There you go. Attaboy. Yeah.
So I'm somewhat excited, but this guy created the team, all right? The manager can only do so much.
Yep.
This guy built this terrible team. That's all I got to say.
All right. We'll keep everybody updated. I'm sure, Nick, you'll have another proclamation here for.
And I'm not defending Derek
whoa,
Chauvin.
whoa!
I'm not defending Derek Chauvin at all. He's a terrible manager. His buddy, supposedly the GM, threw him under the bus. So
It's true. It's true. So, hey, more Nick proclamations at the end of this podcast.
But I'll be rooting for your Phillies this weekend.
It's just a hat. Pat got me this hat last year. I like
Nice
the
hat.
hat. So
It matches the shirt
thank you. It's all about matching.
and kind of the shoes.
Yeah. I can't get my legs up that high to show. So, NBA playoffs. So we have one team locked into the conference finals already. Indiana, numerically speaking, right, seed-wise, upsets Cleveland Cavaliers. I think an underrated part or undermined part in this, and we actually talked a little bit off air about this, the fact that really after that 3-week start to the season for the Pacers, they've been really damn good all year. I don't know. It's interesting, the Cleveland case. It's a good team. It's a really good team, clearly, at the end of the day still. Think they know what they got to do in the offseason, but that's, more, that portion of it's more for, when we have dead time going into the next year and stuff like that for the team. But, maybe the better way to kind of go about this is actually circling back to the Pacers, Nick, because your Knicks tonight were knocking on the door of getting to that conference final to face the Pacers. Up 3-1 on the Celtics. Going to be without Jason Tatum, obviously. Blew his Achilles out. Obviously, in the competition side of things, right, that's not the way you really want something to kind of be the end, sort of, quote unquote. I know a lot of people are still kind of leaning Celtics even tonight, but I think that's maybe more home court than anything else and not whatever. But even if, let's just say, even if Celtics get game 5 tonight in Boston, I think you're looking at game 6 this weekend, right, in New York. I have a hard time imagining the Knicks not being the ones facing Indiana in this Eastern Conference Final next week.
Yeah, it's exciting times right now. Not so much for Tatum. But the Knicks were going to win that game. When he got hurt, it was like a 7-9 point game at the time with like 3 minutes left. Knicks were on the verge of winning that game, even with Tatum going down.
Right.
Obviously, the rest of the series, he's going to be down. He's going to be out for pretty much all of next year.
Yeah, pretty much calendar year.
Yeah, that's what sucks when you get hurt. Like, we saw that with Juju Watkins getting hurt in the NCAA tournament. Their whole next season is just gone, which kind of sucks for them. But,
Well, and you mentioned the lead up to that, too. Boston was winning that game for most of it again. And I just don't. Yeah. You're good. It's a good point you brought up, right? The fact that the Knicks were up when the injury happened. Boston has had a knack specifically this playoff series of just kind of collapsing. Like, I don't know other way to put it.
I know it's the NBA with the 3-point shot in today's game. Yeah. A double-digit lead isn't really much, but the Celtics have had a double-digit lead in all of these first 4 games. One time they kept it, the other times they've blown it. Mm-hmm. And the Knicks have just, if you don't, you can almost say they've outplayed them. I mean, just the way they fought back and never gave up. And there's a big reason why they're up 3-1 going to tonight with a shot to go to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2000, I believe. And just, you could say what you want about Tatum going down. You can say what you want about that, but to beat the defending champion Boston Celtics in 5 games tonight, if they do it tonight, is very impressive. And you have to give the Knicks credit. I know that's a biased point coming from me, but you have to. They beat the defending champs, the Celtics, who steamrolled through everybody in last year's playoffs. To beat them in 5 games is just, I mean, how do you not like them if they get the chance to play Indiana next year, which I would love to see that happen because we weren't really that healthy last year when we played Indiana in the semifinals. And I've seen the Knicks lose to Indiana twice now in the playoffs. Back in the Meld times as well, they lost to Indiana that one year in 2013. And so, but to go off your point with Indiana, very impressive as well on their part to beat a very good Cleveland team. And when they dealt with some injuries as well in that series. Don't think it was the Cavs 100% team, but they still beat them in 5 games. You can beat a team in a gentleman's sweep,
But
it's impressive.
again, you're not the only one I've heard somebody bring up to me the fact that there was injuries on the Cavs front. They were up multiple games this series by 20, 20 plus. I don't care.
You don't care.
If you're up by that much, you should be finishing the deal, right? If we aren't giving that benefit of the doubt to the Celtics, why are we giving that benefit of the doubt to the Cavs? That's all I'm saying.
Then you can look at this series. Is this the reason why Kenny Atkinson has never really he's gone from job to job?
Well, okay.
He's lost in the playoffs a lot.
I think my thing with this Cavs team goes back to while they did improve, and I'm not saying like even then at the end of the day, I don't think firing Bickerstaff was justified last year. Clearly, it was the right move, right? There was noted improvement. I think now this goes back to not to, go back to maybe GMs are the name of the game for this podcast episode essentially, but I think this goes more to the makeup of the team at that point, right? Like it's weird how I thought last offseason having 2 tall guys was the issue. I think the issue with the Cavs might be 2 small guards. And you just signed Mitchell to an extension, but at the end of the day, say they didn't, say whatever, I think Garland's got to be the one that got to go. And again, I get he had injuries and blah, 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 but, and this is the way I view it, you can't be talking the way he was talking and not show up. He didn't show up. He was a liability down the stretch last night. If injury concerns are that big of a deal, like we've kind of now bounced back and forth a little bit here already, then he just shouldn't be on the court then.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
And I'll go on the Donovan Mitchell part of this. I think Donovan Mitchell's a great guy. He's a great. I love that he loves New York and has always wanted to play there. But at the end of the day, he's just a scorer. I wouldn't put him anywhere near a superstar tag. That people want to put him there. I think he's a tad bit overrated, and we've seen him lose in the playoffs so many times.
You see, this is the tough part. I don't think you'd like what I would rebuttal with that. Then, in fact, I know you wouldn't. So I'll do devil's advocate. Where do you put Jalen Brunson?
Oh, above him.
You are convinced, you are convicted in that thought, correct?
Yes.
They're on the same plane to me, and I don't think it's debatable.
Oh, I'm going to debate it.
No, you can. That's the purpose of this podcast.
I think Brunson is these last couple years has jumped him by a decent margin. I get it. Brunson's not the greatest defender in the world, and he's a great team defender in my opinion. But just his clutchness, his basketball IQ, his toughness, it's just I don't know.
Toughness I will push back on.
Is jumped over Donovan Mitchell in my opinion.
I'll push back on toughness element only because that dude's a merchant for the free throw line right now. But
yeah, I personally think Donovan Mitchell's a little.
I just view them the only reason why I view them on the same plane, and I don't think I want to really get into so much superstar debate for either one of them necessarily, only because I think the NBA is going to have a interesting crisis with that in the coming couple of years anyway. To me, they're essentially the same player. I don't think either one of them is obviously awful. I don't know if they're necessarily tier 1, but I think they're tier 2. You know what I mean?
But one's left-handed.
One wears 45, one wears 11.
Yeah, and one won national titles in college. One's a winner.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot. Mitchell was there right after Louisville won. That math's on me.
I just think there's got to be something. Jalen Brunson, these Villanova guys are winners. And that's just...
Nick, they haven't won in 7 years.
But they got it.
Actually, 8 years, technically.
Here's what I got to say about the Cavs. I don't think the makeup of the team is the same, but they remind you of the Thunder of a year ago. Number 1 seed.
See, that's interesting because I thought you were going to go a different Thunder team.
This Thunder team.
No, 2012.
2012.
Where the nucleus was kind of there, and then all of a sudden, obviously in the Thunder case, it was they trade away Harden because they thought, Sam Presti thought he was going to get ahead of the curve on whatever, and it didn't pay off necessarily. This Cavs team kind of reminds me of that to a degree.
Here's what I'll say about Mitchell. He's better than Halliburton because that guy's a bum.
Ah, Jesus.
And we all know it.
Save your venom for that for a hypothetical next week where we
Halliburton is a bum.
One. I will say this. I don't know if you saw it. I don't.
At least Mitchell doesn't have 0-point games.
I will say this. I don't. This is something you probably don't really pay attention to, nor really exactly care, per se. Next Sunday. For I don't know if. Well, in a sense because you pay attention to this, but it's Indy 500 next Sunday, Memorial Day weekend.
Kyle Larson trying to pull up.
You're right, but Indy is going to be crazy that day because you have the Indy 500 at noon. And at 8 o'clock is, I believe, what would be game 3 of the Eastern Conference Final. It's going to be crazy.
And what about the Indians? Are they home that weekend?
I have admittedly not looked at the Pirates Major League
AAA affiliate. No, that's kind of cool.
It's interesting.
Indy 500 will surpass any Pacers game. Let's be real. I mean,
in the Grand Devos, but I'm just saying, I know people are already trying to go to both. So.
And Rick Harlow is probably already planning up staying up all night, judging every ref's calls and complaining in the morning.
I look at the film.
I'm not a big fan of either Cleveland or Indiana, but I hate Indiana more. So I'm disappointed to see Cleveland go, especially in 5 games.
Let's take a look at the West then here.
Yes.
While we still have some moments.
Disappointed in my Nuggets.
Well, yeah.
Blew it last night.
That team makes no sense to me right now because
Nuggets.
Because I'm not going to say we had them written off or whatever necessarily. I don't know. But they come into this Thunder series after 7 games against the Clippers where it could have gone either way. And we thought for sure Thunder are probably going to roll them, blah, 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 right? And all of a sudden, you're staring down the best of 3 essentially. And maybe the best way to go about this is this. Is Jokic tired?
I keep hearing that.
They need, and obviously, look, they aren't dead yet. They go back home for Game 6.
And you win that, it's Game 7.
Who knows, right? But, for them, it's already a little bit of the next season viewing again here to a degree, which I don't think is what we should do. But, with them, it's easier said than, with the Cavs. But, they got to get him some help. And I thought, to be fair, I thought Charles Barkley said it best. Maybe the piece that they actually really do need is a true backup center for him that can actually go in there and get you, I don't know what the exact number technically would be, right? 10, 15 minutes a night type thing where, you can take Jokic off the floor and no matter who it is, right? It's not going to replicate what he can do, but you're not sinking the ship without him out there. There were moments out there. I'm watching that game last night. I'm this is not the best way to phrase it, but I texted a friend of mine. I'm Christian Braun is a basketball terrorist right now. What's he doing on the floor? And it's because the Nuggets just don't have any other option.
So you want Big Baby to come back?
I don't know about that, but that's actually a good example of somebody who their example of this would have been with him in Boston, right? He's not going to be what Kevin Garnett's doing, right? But it's not he's a complete scrub for that 10 minutes you need him out on the floor each night. You know what I mean? Or maybe it's a little bit different only for the fact of how this series is playing out. But Mitchell Robinson would actually be a good example of this to Karl Anthony Towns with the Knicks, in essence, right? Like I said, it's a little bit different this series with how it's played out with the Celtics, compared to how it actually worked out. But in the regular season when Mitchell was healthy, right? Like that's kind of what the role ended up being for him.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like more like what, and like you said, like even like with Big Baby, like kind of what I'm talking about to a degree.
Yeah, Jokic definitely needs some help, but we knew this coming into the playoffs. They needed some help.
100%.
That's the reason why
it's just amplified.
their general manager got fired too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. It's the reason why he got fired. That they didn't make a good team here. Jokic is the reason they're even in this position because he's that talented. This team should be out of the playoffs the way it's constructed, but here they are. They win Game 6.
I mean, we didn't talk about it a ton on here, and that's more an indictment on us. But, like, the West was crazy from, what was it, the 4th seed down? Like, everybody was more or less within, like, a 3.5, 4 game kind of window of each other right down to the end pretty much. Like,
I mean, you got to go out and earn it. This league is not rigged. There's nothing about the NBA that's been rigged. I mean, there's just nothing. There's no script. There's no rig. There's nothing.
Way to spoil the next topic.
But you gotta earn it. I mean, you do gotta go out there and play. I mean, you could say what you want. The Nuggets are home in Game 6, but they still gotta go out there and finish the job, which they didn't do last game.
I mean, you look at the Thunder last night, and we aren't probably giving them credit where it's due, but like. You have a guy like Lou Dort, for example, who just was bad last night for 3 quarters and just was able to come alive the final 12 minutes, right? And, I mean, the Thunder just have a bunch of guys like that, right, where they aren't relying on Shea, right? They aren't going – it's not like the Nuggets where it's do or die, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's guys who can show. And to be fair, it's probably a slight on guys to be like Chet Holmgren and, you know, I mean, you want to talk about an interesting sliding door here. Like, I know you may not necessarily like what I'm about to say, but like, could you imagine you get Mitchell Robinson out of New York and it's still Hartenstein there being the backup there, or doing what they're doing in that series, like for what he's doing in this series? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Robinson and Hartenstein was a good duo.
Yeah.
I did like that.
Hartenstein Towns?
Oh, you're saying switch them.
Could you imagine?
I did miss Hartenstein.
Yeah.
But I like Robinson.
Yeah.
I think Robinson plays a lot better defense. But Hartenstein.
Yeah, but Hartenstein's the better overall player.
You can say. Yeah. I'm pretty loyal to Robinson. He is the longest tenured Nick, so I'm
Nick.
Pretty loyal.
I say this with love to a professional athlete here and respect because I know what they go through. Mitchell Robinson's free throws remind me too much of me at the free throw line.
Or Joakim Noah. Remember that one?
Nick's legend.
Remember that one he's shooting?
Grizzly legend Joakim Noah.
I think you could outshoot Robinson.
I bet you I couldn't.
But yeah, I get it. That's not part of it.
No, I was just saying though. It's like an interesting sliding door. Like
I get it. I have to think about it. Let me sleep on it.
Pillows are right there.
I think the Thunder do close out this series.
Yeah.
They learned from last year's mistakes, losing in this round as the number 1 seed, and they're still the favorites in my opinion. Yeah. They are still the number 1 team in this tournament, and Jalen Williams doesn't get enough love.
Mm-hmm. Which one?
Let me see a picture.
Number 8, Jalen. I think that's
the good one.
Is that the Jay Jalen?
So they're spelled differently?
They're spelled differently. Yeah, it's whichever Jalen Williams is number 8.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen.
Well,
got to cut one of them.
It's pretty easier said than done in pro sports.
Isn't it weird that I can tell the Lopez twins apart and I can't tell the Jalen Williams?
Well, it's a little bit different.
Now, the Morris twins and the Thompson twins, I swear, are the same. They just keep switching them in and out.
The Thompson twins? Oh, we did this last week.
I don't like twins. You know, get rid
of
twins. Should play different sports. If you're gonna have twins and they want to be athletes, one should be playing tennis, the other one should be playing bowling. Anyway, the Thunder are gonna close out this series tomorrow night.
Okay, interesting.
They go into Denver and win it.
So on that end, you're probably assuming that they'll see Minnesota barring something pretty crazy.
I'm not gonna say the Celtics series is over. It's gotta be Timberwolves, Knicks in the NBA Finals. Picture this, Paul. Villanova guys going at each other. Towns versus Randall, the big trade. Only one can it work for this year. It's got to be Timberwolves Knicks. It just got to be. They were fighting in the preseason. Granted, that game occurred probably a couple days after the trade happened. So, I mean, it was fresh in the minds. But it's got to be Timberwolves Knicks. It just has to be. I mean, you could have the Garden versus, what's it, the Target Center?
Yeah, Target Center.
And, I mean, you could have Danny Dimes at both games courtside and get standing O's. I mean, just think about it. You gotta have Timberwolves Knicks.
But Danny Dimes is in Indy now.
Oh, yeah. He's not on the Timberwolves. Well, you
Courtside for the ECF.
yeah. You could have Danny Dimes in back-to-back series. He'll be beloved by all the cities, right?
That's one way to put it. It's interesting. I just got a notification about Draymond getting fined for
Oh, he got
questioning the integrity of the refs.
Oh.
So interesting stuff there.
That's never happened.
Look, it's kind of I view the Timberwolves Warriors kind of the same way I view, and like you said, right, Celtics Knicks at this point. Would it surprise me if the Warriors got another win here tonight? Probably not. Do I think they get the series? No. It's just
Jimmy B.
I mean, I don't know. You get Steph back. We talk about injuries, right? You get Steph back. What version of him are you getting? Because, I mean,
Is he supposed to be coming?
even obviously before the leg issues, right? I mean, he wasn't even really the same with that thumb deal. So, like, I don't know what you kind of get. In theory, I think he can play tonight. I think they're testing him out, but, like, I think you're more likely to see him game 6 should we get a game 6 officially. So, I don't know. But it's a lot, like I said, to me, it's just a lot like similar on the Knicks side.
Also, Randall playing very well that series.
Yes, he is. It's good to see.
Also,
yeah,
we just mentioned the Pacers going back-to-back conference finals. Timberwolves
could
make back-to-back conference finals.
It'd be interesting. Yeah, you mentioned rigged. Should we be remiss if we didn't mention the draft lottery for the NBA last night?
I want to hear someone says how they could say
or rather
it's not rigged.
2 nights ago. Apologies, 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know. I don't sit here. I hate doing the conspiracy theorist thing. I'm not whatever. I will say this. It's interesting because I was like, I can't believe it's only the Mavs that it would work to. I'm not the only one who thought when I saw it because, like, sure, when I saw the top 4 being the Mavs with the Hornets, and then I saw the Sixers, I'm like, NBA wouldn't do that, right? Like, you want to know the more, and I understand why people said Dallas, but to me, if I wanted a true rig, to me, it would be the Sixers. This big team in the East with big names who had a horrible year with a ascending superstar. To me, that's really where it would have lied, in my mind anyway.
Here's where the NBA lottery is rigged.
Tell us, New York Knicks fan.
Obviously, the Dallas one is definitely NBA gave them that pick because they just gave the Lakers Luka for no bidding war at all. Just in the middle of the night, here you go, take Luka. NBA said we'll give you the first pick. Same thing happened when the New Orleans Pelicans gave the Lakers Anthony Davis. They gave him the first pick, gave him Zion. NBA will take care of you. But it's not only do they just give away the first pick, they allow these teams to move up all the time. When the Lakers were absolutely trash before they were semi-trash now, they would move up all the time. How many times did you see the Lakers moving up in the lottery? And when they wanted LeBron to come back to Cleveland, how many times did Cleveland move up in the lottery? And here we go. We got the Sixers and Spurs did not get the number 1 pick, but they still moved up.
It's interesting you bring some of that up because there is an interesting NBA history moment here that I get to give you, I feel like. Now, to do this, we must start technically with Chris Paul.
Not the Patrick Ewing
And the
envelope.
Nope, and the then New Orleans Hornets.
Yes.
So as we know,
They bought the franchise.
the NBA vetoed a trade for Chris Paul to go to the Lakers because they owned New Orleans, the team at the time. Chris Paul gets traded to the Clippers after they're able to find a suitor to buy the Hornets. You want to know what happens the next NBA lottery draft after that happens? The New Orleans Hornets get the first overall pick.
That's when they got Davis.
Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Follow my lead here.
Oh, I'm on board.
Now the New Orleans Pelicans trade Anthony Davis
The Lakers, yeah.
to the Lakers. The next NBA lottery,
They get Zion. Yeah.
first overall, Zion Williamson. Anthony Davis, however, this time gets traded to Dallas.
Mhm.
Next NBA draft lottery, first overall pick.
Dallas.
Crazy.
Yeah. Sounds rigged to me. Yeah, we got a serious problem here. The lottery is a joke. You never see any of these teams actually move up.
Well, that's the interesting part. Oh, you're talking about within the lottery itself.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like these terrible franchises. I know Washington had the second pick last year.
Well, when you said move up, I got confused for a second because I think if people didn't necessarily believe the Giannis smoke, I think there's some fire for some of these teams now.
And, of course, the Spurs get the second pick, something they could trade to get Giannis to come there.
Mm-hmm.
To see the Spurs, Sixers, and Dallas up there is an absolute joke.
Yeah.
And I didn't really put it together when it first went down the Dallas thing. And I was
Or
like,
Charlotte.
yeah, and Charlotte still technically, yeah, they were in the 4, but they technically moved down.
Yeah.
And it's a joke. It's a real joke.
It's tough. The only team I feel like I don't necessarily feel bad for, quote unquote, when they got essentially knocked out of the top three. Well, I guess it'd be top 4 to be fair. Was like Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know what they're doing.
And then people always say, well, Washington's tanking anyway. They don't deserve it. No, Washington's just terrible.
But the lottery, though, now has kind of proven, like, yeah, tanking it improves your odds, obviously, but, like, it's only worked out, like, I think it's, like, 2 times in the past, like, 15 years or something like that.
And the Sixers get to move up.
Yeah.
And they were clear as day tanking at the end of this season. The fact that these guys were not playing at the end of the year. And they get to move up because, like you said, they're a big market. Let's give them a good player.
Now, I guess to be fair, theory aside, at least Dallas wasn't tanking.
No.
I guess. I mean, I don't know.
It makes you wonder, though, because the Memphis Grizzlies were absolute dumpster fire at the end of the year. I got to watch that game back. Did Dallas lose that Grizzlies game on purpose? Because if they win, they get out of the play-in. They're not part of this lottery.
No, Ja was playing like a man possessed that night. I remember.
Let me see his
because no, the only reason why I remember is because I remember ESPN doing the cuts over to Nico Harrison, and like people online were talking about like, well, if you had Luka, you wouldn't be having to deal with Ja this way. I'm like, shut up.
And that makes sense why Nico, whatever his name is, has been so relaxed this whole time.
Breaking baseball news.
That happens all the time in the show.
I know. A staple of a team has been DFA'd.
Staple of a team has been DFA'd. Let me get this. A staple of a team has been DFA'd. Somebody that's been struggling really bad. Oh man, I'm gonna go. Give me the division.
NL West.
NL West. Staple of a team been struggling really bad. Staple of a team. So
this team has called up their top prospect, who is a catcher, to take this person's spot.
Oh, so I'm going to go Padres.
Sure.
Ethan Salas got called.
No.
Is it the Padres?
No.
Oh. I'm going to go, let's try to think here. Staple of a team that I'm thinking Giants?
It's not the Giants.
I'm thinking
Come on, think about a team in the West that's had stability for a while here.
So it's got to be the Diamondbacks.
No.
The Dodgers?
The Dodgers.
give a crap anymore.
Austin Barnes. DFA'd.
Oh my God, I want all those thoughts back.
Former fantasy darling.
Oh, he's terrible.
Former. That's why I said former.
When has he been a staple?
He's been on the team since 2015.
I don't care.
I know you don't. But you should, because they called up Dalton Rushing.
So anyway, about this lottery.
You're catching. Get your waivers in now, folks.
I was getting excited. I thought Ethan Salas was out there.
How's Bubba Chandler treating you?
So this lottery sucks. This lottery is terrible. You want to know, the NHL lottery is even more rigged. The fact that like the Devils and the Islanders and all these teams, the Rangers included, have moved up in this lottery. Wasn't the San Jose kid last year? Wasn't he a San Jose fan growing up? Oh my God. Like lotteries just need to go.
I mean, the Blackhawks had. Well, I will say this: the MLB's lottery I like, because you can't just be like essentially deliberately bad for multiple years. Like the White Sox can't have a top 10 pick this year. I think it's great. You know,
Pirates and Knicks have won the 2 inaugural lotteries for their sports. Patrick Ewing, Paul Skeens. Thank you very much.
it's true. You've been lucky.
The envelope, what was it? A
Frozen.
frozen envelope.
It was also bent. Stay woke.
And they haven't won it since.
No.
No.
Yeah, you're right. They haven't. But you never know. Next year could be the year.
Yeah, that guy, what's the
Commissioner?
the chief one though that does the lottery.
Or the deputy commissioner?
Deputy commissioner.
Mark Tate.
I swear, when the Knicks were terrible, he used to smile a lot more when it was the Knicks getting picked.
Mark Tatum, great side character in Game of Zones
Yes,
back.
he was.
in the day.
He was.
Mark, give it up for the guy behind the guy. Mark Tatum.
So what's next? We talking Pete Rose?
I legitimately have nothing else besides golf.
Pete Rose a little bit.
No, to me, it's just not surprising. Like, we all kind of knew this was probably going to happen. I think the more surprising part is how wide sweeping it is, because it includes like the Black Sox guys and stuff like that. But I mean, not surprising.
Shoeless Joe. Big fan of his game.
How are you?
Yeah, didn't miss a
Big fan of
game.
the 356 career average,
356, really?
fourth all time.
Now, did he play with no shoes? Is that where he gets nickname?
No, he did once allegedly, and that's how he got it.
Oh. Cool dude.
Yeah, sure. Sure. No, the last really topic I had today was PGA,
Yes.
and it's going to be interesting down at Quail Hollow,
Should be a Big Oak or Oak Hill.
Silver Creek. I'm all in on this. Could you imagine hypothetically? That'd be cool. Anyway,
Yeah, if it was at Silver Creek, the fourth hole and the 12th hole where that hot dog stand is, it'd be a madhouse for people. That hot dog line would be so packed.
Shaq maybe. Anyway, yeah, it's hard not to kind of go in my mind with not having Rory be more or less the favorite.
Shepard,
right?
I saw, was the favorite.
Well, I'm
By the
talking though
odds.
from like the perspective of just like Rory's been the hottest golfer pretty much.
He loves Quail Hollow.
The reason why I'm not going with Scotty is it's been a while since he's kind of won anyway. Obviously he hasn't won yet this year, but more in general, I don't know. There's a lot of talk too. We got Bryson now kind of in the picture potentially for the career. Next guy to be career Grand Slam, Spieth as well. Both those guys actually kind of have talked leading into this week about it. So it's an interesting tournament. Obviously, going into this, right? I mean, you have this, and then in a few weeks, well, about a month technically, we have the U.S. So it's an interesting time. It's the shortest run between the two majors now. It's those two. It's interesting. I saw the U.S. I don't know if necessarily taking the Thunder's right term, but they came out with the stuff this week about the lengths of like the roughs and stuff like that they'll have at the U.S. Open, and I saw TikToks of guys trying to hit it out of it, and I'm just like sitting there going like, PGA's tomorrow. Like, why are we taking the Thunder away from Quail Hollow?
I know.
So.
Well, the PGA was always looked at as like the least popular of the four majors. Even though I do miss it when it was in August.
I don't know if it is anymore, though.
It's close. The other three are pretty popular. I do miss it when it was in August. I hate that the Open's the last one. It feels like the golf season ends in July.
It's just the way it is now, set up because of the FedEx playoff.
Yeah, they want people to watch the FedEx playoffs. And it just, I don't know, the fans just don't.
I have a hot take.
You like it.
No, well, not necessarily in that sense, but I know what you're saying about PJ being unpopular. No, I've never been a big British Open guy.
It's called the Open.
Whatever. All prim and proper, please.
Patrons.
Yeah, that's Augusta.
Yeah, it is on early in the morning, isn't it?
Curse, you found my plot hole.
I used to always, I don't know if it's still that week, but you used to always remember it was the ESPYs the night before, and then the Open Championship first round would be the next morning, which was, and then you had the MLB All-Star game the day before. I don't know if it's still that week, but yeah, I mean, the PGA always has something in my heart because 2 years ago I went to every round of the PGA Championship, which was pretty cool in Rochester for my job.
Talk your ish, King.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So I always remember that. But you always seem to get that first time major winner here at the PGA. And like it's the only one he ever has. Like, where's Jimmy Walker now?
Yeah, where's Xander?
Where's Jason Duffner? Shout out Rochester. The second to last time they were there.
Although you did. Speaking of Rochester, did you see who is actually in the PGA though?
Michael Block.
Yeah, if he's back, our guy. You pulling for him?
We'll see.
I might do a top 20 bet on him just for the kicks of it. I mean, why not?
So he wasn't in it last year.
Correct.
But he qualified again this year, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. If it ever shows how tough it actually is, like, go look at his resume, and you'd be like, how is he just not on the tour?
I know.
It's incredibly hard to be on the tour.
But that's cool that they let PGA professionals go out there and play in this, and I think that's what makes the PGA Championship that
The dude's like a 10-time champion, like, of stuff. It's crazy.
And you see some crazy stuff this term. We saw Phil Mickelson win it not that too long ago. And obviously the big storyline is going to be, you can look at Scheffler and Rory, but I'm looking at Jordan Spieth, We looked at the Masters.
Justin Thomas.
We looked at Justin Thomas, 2-time PGA champ. Brooks, 3-time PGA champ. So you look at those storylines, but I was talking career Grand Slam. Rory got it done in the Masters, obviously. We got Jordan Spieth, which would be kind of crazy. They get the career Grand Slam with a win here. And some people look at this as the easiest one. And then the next tournament, U.S. Open, we got Phil Mickelson trying to become the career Grand Slam again. So there's a chance we get 3 Grand Slams in the same year.
Be crazy.
Be pretty crazy.
You never know.
And I'm not too high on Jordan this week, but
I'm never.
No, I don't think he's going to get it done. I don't know if he ever wins this.
Slick Rick, baby.
Obviously, I'm huge on Tiger this week. But we're going to miss Tiger out there. If I had to pick a guy out of nowhere that gets it done this week, I'm thinking of maybe Sepp Straka, who just won last week.
Interesting.
I'm just spitballing here, but maybe
Can I interest you in Steve Yeager?
Steve Yeager, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's a pull.
The Mad Bomber.
I'm thinking maybe Astia Batitia. I can't say his name.
I've never been able to pronounce it correctly.
Bahitia. The lefty there with the glasses.
Yeah.
Maybe a.
Do we see a resurgence from Morikawa?
Maybe Morikawa's.
What about Sahith?
Thagala, yeah, I could see it.
Tony Finau?
No.
Definitely not.
No.
Ricky?
I like. Is he in it?
Yeah.
He did get in it.
Yep.
I'd like to see Max Homa do well, but he always sucks.
Yeah.
He chokes.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he chokes, but
Yeah.
Thomas has been playing well though. Justin Thomas.
A bit too well.
Too well.
Suspiciously well.
Yeah. But the LIV guys, the LIV guys,
LIV.
they're going to be obviously looked at. But my pick, I'm going with pick, I'm going to go with, he just lost a tough one. I'm going Shane Lowry here.
Okay.
Shane Lowry gets
I like that. I'm gonna go Bryson.
It's pretty boring.
You're boring. You took Shane. Shane's been red hot the past month.
Lost a tough one on Sunday, but to Sep.
Yeah. All right. Let's get out here on that note. Who are you shouting out this week, Nick? Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, sorry. Before you shout out, you do have to go on record as you have been the past few podcasts. Go ahead.
On record of what?
Ben Charrington.
Oh, Ben Charrington. Yes. Will get fired at some point.
Okay.
You will get your karma for throwing your buddy under the bus.
It's true.
Shout out Jerry One.
An entity.
On Saturday. Marked 5,000 days since Jerry One Fantasy Sports was created with the 2011 fantasy football season. So
Hey, Flicker.
yeah, technically that was that year too. So shout out. But I'm going to shout out Jake Coons.
My guy.
My brother went to college with Jake. Big fan of the podcast, I would presume. It's his birthday on Friday, so
29th.
yeah, 29th birthday. Yes, shout out Jake. Happy birthday. He's going to be an adult just like Max. R.I.P. King to God. And don't be throwing your peanuts under your seat at the ballpark, all right? Shout out Jake.
All right, we're going to head out of here. Nick, appreciate you. Appreciate everybody for listening and tuning in. We'll be back at it again next week. We'll pre-Memorial Day weekend show, so look forward to that. At that point, yeah, we'll have conference final basketball to discuss.
And hockey.
And Memorial Day stuff.
Also, WNBA tips off Friday.
Wait, when are we seeing Friendship? Or is that...
I think it's Memorial Day weekend.
Okay. Gotcha. That's right, because they're doing the select thing first right now. That's right. Forgot. That's on me. Anyway, enjoy the weekend, everybody. We'll talk again next week.